While in the mall parking lot, Janigno ran into Mr. Enrique, who greeted him right away. "We've met before, haven't we? Back when we both took our wives to Dr. Gilberto's clinic. Just be careful, or your wife might end up like mine," Enrique said with a serious tone. But Enrique wasn't done. "I'm just saying," he continued. "I used to think my wife was loyal too, but money has a way of exposing the truth." Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into another real-life story that's both shocking and chilling. This time, the events take us to Udon Thani, Thailand. Brace yourself. This story might leave you feeling nervous, questioning logic, and wondering how something so strange could be real. What's the full story behind this case? Stick around as we unpack all the details. Let's get started. On the afternoon of March 14, 2020, Janigno decided to visit Dr. Gilberto's clinic again. This time, the staff told him that the doctor had already gone home for the day and wouldn't be available until the next morning. This only deepened Janigno's confusion. If Dr. Gilberto had returned from Udon Thani, then where was Maricel? Exhausted and anxious, he returned to his apartment. He tried Googling Dr. Gilberto's address, hoping for a lead, but came up empty. Left with no other options, Janigno resolved to report Maricel's disappearance to the police if she wasn't home by noon the next day. Fear gripped him. Dark thoughts clouded his mind. What if something terrible had happened to Maricel? What if she had been harmed, or worse? The idea that Dr. Gilberto might have done something to her haunted him, but he tried to push those fears aside and prayed for her safety. The next morning, on March 15, 2020, at around 7 a.m., loud banging on the apartment door startled Janigno awake. The doorbell rang incessantly, each chime fueling his growing dread. He rushed to the door and opened it to find several police officers standing outside. Their faces said it all. They delivered the devastating news. Maricel's body had been discovered lifeless in a city park earlier that morning at around 4 a.m. Janigno's world shattered. He broke down in tears, screaming in anguish. His worst nightmare had come true. Through his sobs, he told the officers about Dr. Gilberto, insisting that the doctor was responsible. But the police revealed a shocking twist. The culprit had already been arrested. It wasn't Dr. Gilberto. It was his wife, Evangeline. She had turned herself in after the incident. The truth behind Maricel's death slowly came to light. Janigno's worst fears were confirmed. Maricel had been having an affair with Dr. Gilberto. For months, while Janigno was busy working, the two had secretly met. Maricel even had a hidden cell phone, used exclusively to communicate with the doctor, which she carefully kept out of sight whenever she was at home. The trip to Udon Thani wasn't a coincidence. It had been carefully planned in advance under the guise of a college reunion. Maricel thought that framing it as a sudden trip would make her husband less suspicious. Dr. Gilberto played along, telling Evangeline he had an event at the hotel. But Evangeline found out. Overcome with jealousy and betrayal, she confronted Maricel. The confrontation spiraled out of control, ending in tragedy. Evangeline, who had always suspected her husband, Dr. Gilberto, of being unfaithful, wasn't willing to let it slide this time. Her suspicions had been validated before. Just recently, Mr. Enrique attacked Gilberto after discovering his affair with Enrique's wife, Bangelica. So when Gilberto claimed he was heading to a reunion, Evangeline secretly followed him. What she uncovered wasn't a reunion at all. It was a secret rendezvous with Maricel. At the hotel, tensions exploded. An argument broke out between the three of them. In the heat of the moment, Evangeline grabbed Maricel's phone and hurled it into the swimming pool, destroying it. Fearing his wife might escalate the situation further or even inform Maricel's husband, Gilberto told Maricel to leave. He arranged for a staff member to book her a nearby hotel near the Udon Thani Mall for a few days. Meanwhile, Maricel went into hiding, terrified of what might happen next. Evangeline was relentless. She didn't know Maricel's address to tell Janigno directly, and Gilberto wasn't returning home. She had no idea where he was staying, but she was determined to find him. On the evening of March 14, 2020, she spotted Gilberto's car parked near a city park. She stormed over and found both Gilberto and Maricel inside the car. Furious, she confronted them. The situation escalated quickly. Gilberto, realizing Evangeline had brought a weapon, panicked and fled, leaving Maricel to face Evangeline alone. Unable to defend herself, Maricel was tragically injured and died at just 28 years old. After the incident, Evangeline turned herself in to the authorities. The trial, held at the Udon Thani High Court, drew significant attention. Janigno, devastated and angry, demanded justice for Maricel. However, when evidence was presented, text messages and WhatsApp chats from Maricel's secret phone, he was forced to confront the painful truth. His wife had been unfaithful and had lied to him repeatedly. During the trial, Mrs. Bangelica and her husband also testified against Gilberto. Bangelica revealed that the doctor had been pursuing her for a long time, even offering her money in exchange for favors. She expressed regret and urged the court to hold Gilberto accountable for his actions. As the case unraveled, more women came forward. For former patients filed complaints against Gilberto, accusing him of similar misconduct. However, only one, Regina, was brave enough to testify in court. She admitted that while their relationship started consensually, Gilberto later became threatening and coercive. When she sought help from Evangeline, the doctor's wife dismissed her and angrily threw her out. Fearing retaliation, Regina had kept quiet until now. On November 9, 2020, the court delivered its verdict. Evangeline was charged with second-degree felony murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison, eligible for parole after 7 years. The court showed some leniency, acknowledging her actions were driven by a desperate attempt to protect her family's honor. Maricel's parents, heartbroken and furious, pressured Janigno to appeal the sentence, believing it was far too light for the crime. But Janigno, grappling with his own feelings, chose not to. In his eyes, Evangeline was also a victim. The betrayal of Maricel and Gilberto had pushed her to the edge, and he couldn't bring himself to pursue further punishment. Meanwhile, in December 2020, Dr. Gilberto faced his own trial. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison for misconduct, coercion, and threats against his patients. In February 2021, he appealed, but the retrial increased his sentence by 5 months, bringing it to 29 months total. While both were serving their sentences, Evangeline filed for divorce. Their marriage officially ended in March 2021, marking the final chapter of a tragedy filled with betrayal, heartbreak, and irreversible loss. What lessons can we learn from this story? Before we get into today's story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hey, share this story with your friends. It helps us keep bringing you these intriguing tales. So, here's how it goes. There was a man named Janigno, a cheerful and friendly guy from Udon Thani, Thailand. Born in 1992, he worked at a magazine and book publishing company. In 2019, he met Maricel, a contract journalist for a political magazine. The two hit it off right away and got married in October of that year. They seemed like the perfect pair. Janigno was independent and affectionate, while Maricel's pampered, sweet nature made her the apple of his eye. After the wedding, they moved into a cozy apartment near the city park and started building their life together. But here's the thing about Maricel. She loved being spoiled. Even after getting married, she often asked her husband for things: a new car, a phone upgrade, trips abroad. While some of her requests were granted, like their 2-week honeymoon to Bali and Japan, others were simply out of their budget. Whenever her husband said no, Maricel would sulk and even ran off to her parents' house outside the city for a week. Eventually, Janigno went to fetch her, had a heart-to-heart with her parents, and brought her back home. To keep the peace, he promised to fulfill more of her wishes, including signing her up for treatments at a beauty clinic in Udon Thani Center Mall. By January 2020, Maricel was a regular at the clinic, even though their finances were tight. Maricel wasn't working anymore, so their only income came from Janigno, who had also left his job as a journalist. But that didn't stop her from seeing Dr. Gilberto, a young, 29-year-old doctor who graduated from Korea. Dr. Gilberto had been married for a year to Evangeline, a health consultant, and the couple didn't have children yet, likely because they were both focused on their careers. Despite his busy life, Dr. Gilberto handled all of Maricel's treatments. Over time, they exchanged phone numbers, and Maricel started consulting him via WhatsApp. At first, Janigno wasn't too concerned. He occasionally checked Maricel's phone, but the chats between her and the doctor seemed professional. Still, he couldn't help feeling a little jealous when Maricel spent hours texting, claiming it was all about her treatments. To him, Maricel was already stunning. Flawless skin, slim figure, no dark spots, no blemishes. What more could she possibly want? He thought. But Maricel kept asking for money, saying she needed to fix eye bags, necklines, arm fat, you name it. It all left poor Janigno feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. Then, in early February 2020, drama erupted at the clinic. A man named Enrique stormed in and caused a scene, accusing Dr. Gilberto of having an affair with his wife Bangelica, who was also a regular patient. The commotion drew a crowd at the mall, and the incident quickly made it into the local Udon Thani newspaper. When Janigno read about it, he immediately asked Maricel if she knew anything. After all, this was her doctor too. Maricel reassured him, explaining that she had heard about the situation and even recognized Bangelica's mother, who had visited the clinic several times. It's scary, Maricel admitted. Taking her words at face value, Janigno simply warned her to be careful moving forward. Little did he know, this was only the beginning of a much bigger story. 2 weeks later, life had settled back into its usual rhythm. Like clockwork, Janigno took his wife Maricel to her regular appointment at the beauty clinic. He didn't plan on waiting for her though, he never did. He preferred to drop her off and leave. But this time, as he lingered in the mall parking lot, he bumped into Mr. Enrique, who greeted him with an unexpected warning. We met before, remember? At Dr. Gilberto's clinic when we both took our wives there. Just be careful, or you might end up with your wife betraying you too, Enrique said, his tone tinged with bitterness. Janigno, startled to realize this was the same man who had attacked Dr. Gilberto a few weeks earlier, replied calmly. Oh, I didn't recognize you. But hopefully, everything is fine now. Enrique wasn't done. I'm just saying, watch out. I used to think my wife was loyal, too. But trust me, money has a way of showing the truth. Janigno simply smiled and walked away, dismissing the cryptic remark. Still, the words lingered in his mind. But as far as he knew, Maricel was loyal and their marriage was strong. There was no reason to worry, or so he thought. Fast forward to March 8, 2020. Maricel asked for Janigno's permission to attend a college reunion out of town. She had mentioned it before, so Janigno reluctantly agreed, not wanting to upset her by saying no. Maricel mentioned a last-minute change in the reunion's location due to a booking error. The group had moved to a hotel on the outskirts of Udon Thani. Always the trusting husband, Janigno didn't think much of it. He didn't even ask her for pictures with her friends, though Maricel did video call him once from the hotel pool, alone. On the second day of her trip, curiosity got the better of him. While scrolling through Maricel's social media, he noticed something odd. She was friends with Dr. Gilberto. Feeling uneasy, he clicked on the doctor's profile and checked his recent posts. That's when he saw it, a photo of a swimming pool with a location tag for a hotel in Udon Thani. The same hotel Maricel was staying at. The pieces started coming together in Janigno's mind. Could Dr. Gilberto and Maricel have gone to college together? But wait, hadn't Maricel said the doctor studied in Korea? Something didn't add up. He called her several times. No answer. He sent her messages. No reply. Frustrated and suspicious, Janigno decided to take matters into his own hands. He drove to the Udon Thani Center Mall and headed straight to the 3rd floor, where Dr. Gilberto's clinic was located. When he asked the staff about the doctor, they confirmed that Dr. Gilberto was out of town on vacation and wouldn't return until March 11th. They offered a substitute doctor if he needed treatment, but that wasn't what he wanted. Determined to get to the bottom of it, he probed further, asking if Dr. Gilberto had studied in Thailand. The staff confirmed that he was, indeed, a Korean graduate. Even his high school education was completed there. That was the final straw. Janigno's suspicions boiled over. He was convinced now. Maricel wasn't at a reunion. She was with Dr. Gilberto. He asked the staff for the doctor's phone number, but no one was willing to give it to him. And so, Janigno was left to stew in his own doubts and anger, unsure of what his next move should be. When Maricel couldn't be reached, Janigno tried calling the hotel in Udon Thani, hoping to get some answers. Unfortunately, the staff refused to share information about their guests. Frustrated but tied down by work, and with his boss insisting on overtime, he decided to wait until the day Maricel was supposed to return home. But when the day came, she didn't show up. Her phone was still off, and worry started to eat away at him. He waited and waited, but there was no sign of her. Growing desperate, Janigno called Maricel's parents, thinking maybe she had gone to their house. But they hadn't seen or heard from her either.